Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel for those of you who are new. For those of you returning, welcome. Thank you guys for coming back. So I wanted to share, I actually just got my first COVID vaccine, which is super exciting. My school district was offering them to certain staff members, like depending on what license you have. So luckily school psychs was in that. I'm pretty excited, and I think I get the next one in a month, but they didn't tell us yet. So I think they're gonna like email us that information, but yeah, I'm very excited. So I just got that done. Yeah, it's Wednesday right now, and it's about, what time is it? It is 10:15. So I have a 12 o'clock meeting that I have to present my results at. It's an initial meeting. I have a meeting from 1 to 2 for a weekly school staff meeting. I am gonna probably do some report writing in the meantime and just review the report that I have for my 12 o'clock meeting. But also, I just got, oh, the lighting is really weird in here. Oops. But anyways, I just got a new camera. I was filming all my previous videos on my iPhone 11, so I'm really excited that I finally made the purchase to get a camera. I feel like it's just like such better quality, and honestly I hated using my phone. Like that's why I would never film anywhere else except for like my apartment, because it was just easier, especially because my phone, I can't like hold it up in my car. I don't have one of those, like, what are those called? Like the car holder things? I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I will check back in with you guys later. So it is about 2:30. I'm wrapping up for the day right now with work, and I did get a couple of requests from you guys to share some of the books that I've kept and that I've been using like as a school psych. One thing I did after I graduated from grad school was I gathered like all the books that I was told to buy during the years. I would buy most of the books, like unless I knew it wasn't gonna pertain to me at all like later on, like I don't know, like a theories of counseling book or something. I think I actually bought that, but I sold it. But for the most part, I did buy most of my books, unless I like knew for sure I wasn't ever gonna need it again, then I would rent it. And the reason I bought them is because I always highlight my books when I would read for like, you know, assigned chapters. But yeah, after I graduated, I gathered all my books. I got rid of like almost half of them. So I sold them on Amazon, and then I kept a certain few. So I figured I would share with you guys the books that I kept. So yeah, let's do it. So the first book that I actually didn't buy this. So this is gonna be a mix of things that I had from grad school classes and then afterwards. So this is actually something I bought last year during my first year as a school psych. And it's really helpful if especially your role consists of like a lot of assessment. This is called the Essentials Wisc 5 assessment, and I know that this writer, the Kaufman series, they have like the Wyatt, I think they have the Wisc, they have a lot of different tests and huge books to go along with them. And it's really helpful because it just goes really in depth with like each subtest that you're giving. So this one again is the Wisc, and that's like one of the most common ones that I give right now. So it goes really in depth with like what each subtest is measuring and how subtests relate to one another, you know, what the scores kind of mean in a way when they're all put together. So I really like it. It is very, very detailed. So over here it shows like each subtest and then like how it impacts your performance in the classroom, what it might look like. And then it also has a chapter which I think is really interesting. It's called A Neuropsych Approach to Intervention. It talks more about like how neuropsychologists interpret the scores, and then like how SLD can be related to certain things, autism, etc. So I really recommend this, especially if you're doing a lot of assessments. It's definitely not an easy read, but I've like skimmed different chapters and I do find it helpful. So I recommend it. And I believe I bought that on Amazon. So every book that I show you guys, I will have a link down below in the description. Okay, so I don't have the actual DSM-5. I probably should have it, but I'm pretty sure it's like really expensive. So instead, I bought this. It's called the DSM-5 Diagnosis in the Schools. It goes over a bunch of different like DSM diagnoses. So, you know, it goes over anxiety, depression, intellectual disability, what it looks like, goes over mood problems, personality disorders. So this is interesting because like you know, since I don't have a PhD, like we went over certain disorders and diagnoses and what they look like, but not every single one. So this is helpful just in case like I come across a student that has a diagnosis that I'm unfamiliar with, or if I just want to brush up on like, you know, what the symptoms are of certain diagnoses or how it can impact them in the school setting. This has really been helpful for me, and I believe I bought this my last year of grad school. I had like heard about it from a couple classmates. So again, it's called the DSM Diagnosis in the Schools. Wait, is it focusing? There we go. By Tobin and House. I definitely recommend it. Okay, so if you guys are working with younger students, this behavior management book is definitely helpful. I believe I had to buy this my second year when we were taking a behavior class, and I've kept it ever since. It was definitely helpful for when you're trying to write like FBAs for younger students and like find out what's the function of their behavior. This goes very into like antecedent behavior consequence. It goes into how you like count and record behavior, like especially if you're doing an FBA. It goes over the basic principles of behavior like punishment and reinforcement, different theories of behavior as well. It goes into specific like behavior interventions as well, and like token economies, for example. So it's very helpful, especially if you want ideas for behavior intervention. This behavior management book, again, very helpful, and it's by John Mag. So again, I'll link that below. Okay, these two, I bought these my first year again, or I think it was maybe between the summer after I graduated. But yeah, it was after grad school, and these are super cheap. I know that these are both $15 on, I think I bought them from NASP's website, so they might even be cheaper on Amazon. But I bought these called Pediatric Disorders and then Genetic and Acquired Disorders. And I wanted these mainly because, again, with my classes, we didn't have just like a sole class on, you know, a bunch of disorders, and especially not like genetic disorders or acquired ones or pediatric ones common in childhood. So I just wanted to know more about if I was ever to evaluate a child that had like, you know, fetal alcohol syndrome when they were younger, or if they have like a sleep disorder. I feel like we didn't get any training in those areas, so I just wanted to be able to like have some basic knowledge on those certain disorders, you know, how they affect the child while they're in school. They talk about like prenatal exposure to antidepressants, asthma, postpartum depression. Oh, this one I actually found the most interesting is the biology of shyness, because people like don't really think of that as anything, but this one goes very in depth in that, and it is very interesting. So yeah, these were super cheap. I definitely recommend them if you just want to like brush up on learning about more disorders that are common in childhood or like genetic type disorders. This one I believe I got my first year of grad school, first or second year, but it is by Shapiro, and he's a very like well-known author, I feel like, in the field of school psych. And this one is the Academic Skills Problems, 4th edition. It's funny, I feel like a lot of these I had covers on them, but then I just like rip them off because they just always move around, so then I just take off the paper cover. But yeah, this is called Academic Skills Problems. This one is, let me see how old this one is. This one is copyrighted 2011, so he actually might have a newer version, I'm not sure. But he goes very in depth again, similar to like the behavior management one, where he actually provides you like strategies and recommendations that you can use for students. So he focuses a lot on like whole classroom interventions. He focuses on like instructional strategies that you can do with one student or the whole classroom and what that looks like. He divides it, I think, by individual and then whole. And again, he just goes very in depth for like reading, writing, and math. So I think those are very important for students that have SLD. So I actually kind of want to reread some of this. Usually I'll skim it if I just want to kind of know something really quick or get a little bit of quick information, but I did read this all in grad school, as evidenced by the highlighting I did. But yeah, I definitely recommend looking into Shapiro's work, whether or not you get this one. I know he has a ton of stuff out there, and it's all very helpful. Okay, so the second book that we needed for that behavior class I took my first year was all about FBAs, And I know it varies, like right now I'm not doing FBAs, but in Rhode Island, most school psychs do the FBAs. So this one is called Building Positive Behavior Support Systems, so PBS, in schools. And it really goes in depth with how you conduct an FBA. Like, I love this one because it actually gives you printouts. So at the end, it gives you all these different like forms that you can actually use yourself. I think you can also go online and look them up, and they have like printables there once you buy the book. It sets it up like, okay, what does the problem behavior look like? How often does it occur? So this is pretty much like an interview format, or the teacher can just fill it out. And it's like, it says, for example, what are the events that predict when the behavior will occur? What consequences are likely to maintain the behavior? So it really goes in depth, you know, beforehand, before you fill out that form, with how to do it and how to track behavior, how to identify the antecedent and consequence. So this one is definitely something I recommend if you guys are doing FBAs in your district. Okay, so the last book that I recommend that you guys get, again, I bought this during grad school. It was required for one of my classes. It's called The RTI Approach to Evaluating Learning Disabilities. And it's by, oh God, I can't even pronounce two of the last names, but one of them is Shapiro. So that's the same guy that created the Academic Skills Problems book that I showed you guys. And this one, I really like it because, you know, we are supposed to be evaluating learning disabilities using an RTI approach. And especially at the secondary level, you don't see a lot of RTI, but you can still take a lot of good information from this book to appropriately assess students for SLD. So it gives you like the 4 qualifiers, like failure to meet age or grade level state standards in one of those 8 areas, you know, rule out vision, hearing, or motor problems. It goes very in depth with all of those things and how to do them. So if you want more information with how to identify SLD correctly, then you should get this book for sure. Okay guys, so I completely forgot to end this video. I was just about to upload it and then I realized I forgot an outro. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. I make new videos on school psych every single week. And until next time, I will see you guys very soon. Bye! We're far away from the city lights, so small.